Hi, welcome to another podcast with Ian Wallace, the messed up counsellor. By now, you'll be looming into the New Year's Day and New Year's resolutions. It's a funny time of year in a lot of ways. And I don't mean funny, hilarious. I mean funny in a sense that we start the new year with a resolution. I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, I'm going to do the other. And how many people get through January and into February and it's all gone? I'm going to lose weight. So you attend the gym for 3 weeks and then all of a sudden something else appears that's more interesting. I know I've done that in the past. So that process of New Year's resolutions is a really interesting one from a human dynamic point of view. Because we tend to over-egg what we can or cannot achieve. We find we give ourselves unrealistic expectations, And the amount of self-help books that get sold in January is very, very large. They're usually in the bin by February for a lot of people, or you've passed them down to some kind of charity organisation. And it comes up every year. I mean, obviously, New Year's resolutions is not something new. It's a yearly striving for, trying to change, trying to accommodate. So when we look at New Year's resolutions, we look at that process of what is going to make us get into this and stay in it. Because those best laid plans on New Year's Day, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to do this or that or the other. The motivation on day one is great because I've made that decision. I'm going to do that process. And you might have signed up to a gym. You might have bought the new self-help book, whatever that might be, to advance or develop yourself or find out about yourself even more, to grow internally, all those kind of things. But by the end of January, that might have wavered a bit. For most people, keeping that motivation going is really hard. We might go into February with it. We might get to March and it'll kind of drop off. The reason why it sometimes goes that way is because when we start off, we have really good intentions. I'm going to do this, that, or the other. But our intentions usually come from an inflated aspect of what is achievable. So we call that making sure that we work with small step approaches. Because that process of the big leaps, I'm going to lose £4 in a month, for example, might not be achievable. So when we get to the end of the month and we haven't lost the £4, even though we've tried our hardest to do so, then we get discouraged and we think, well, I've tried and it hasn't worked, so what's the point? And we go back to what we used to do. So that motivation needs to be something we can keep on going with. We need to see something of an advancement, something of going towards the target, the goal, the process that we're trying to achieve. And if we see some elements of change, then we can hold on to those. We can look back and say, I've lost £1, whatever that might be. And then that keeps us going. It keeps us motivating. My dyslexic break is working all those things around, and I'm not coming up with an idea. Anyone that's dyslexic that's watching this, you'll know what I'm talking about. We lose things in our heads because our heads don't work as fast as our mouths sometimes, which is not good for a podcaster, but there you go. So when we're doing that process of trying to give ourselves a sense of what is available, what is achievable, when we see that target, whatever it is, so if it is £4, for example, of weight that we need to lose, then try and bring that back to a more realistic, achievable goal. Because if you do that, chances are then you're going to gain that momentum instead of losing the momentum. Now, what we say with any kind of goal-orientated process, that we need to have something that is able to be achieved. So it's something that we can attain. If we don't think we can, or if we know we can't, then we need to reduce the goal. We need to bring it down into a smaller step. Because big steps, if we don't achieve big steps, we tend to get really disillusioned and we tend not to get into the process again. If we do small steps, we can do 2 small steps together. We don't have to just do one, but that then will give us motivation to go forward. That'll say, actually, this is achieving something. I'm getting to where I want to be. So we have to make that goal realistic. And not realistic in what we think we can do, realistic in actually what can we do, what is achievable. As we see that, we need to be able to score it. We need to give ourselves some idea that we're attaining something. And so we use a scoring technique or a benchmark of a process. So when we're looking for that motivation, when we're looking for that, those small steps will give us it. Big leaps won't usually. So when we're gauging that out, we need to plan it. We need to make it something that we can see on paper that we are achieving. Now, if we say, okay, we're going to lose £1 in the month, that might be achievable. But we might lose £2, which is great because we've done the pound and we've done another pound. If we're going to say we're going to lose £4 and we only lose £2, that's going to be a negative process for us. And these things, these goals, are not good when you get negative processes. It kind of stops the momentum, motivation goes down, we become disillusioned. What's the point in trying? All those kind of things come into our head because we work on an insecure process, human beings usually. So we create those small steps, what is realistic. And if we don't know if it is realistic or not realistic, reduce it. 2 small steps are better than failing at 1 big step. 2 small steps forward, much better than failing 1 big step. So when we're building that plan, we're putting that down on paper, we're trying to make a record of our achievements. That will give us the satisfaction that we're doing something. Now, when we're going through that process, then we need to give ourselves some kind of reward. Okay, you might see it on paper and that might be reward enough. But if we use an incentive, then actually that will double the effort of that motivation. So an incentive could be, well, okay, if I lose £4 in weight, as an example, in that month, or £1, whatever you do, if I do that, then I'm going to reduce what I've paid for in food, probably, or in going out, or whatever it is. So I'm going to give myself an incentive, and I'm going to put £10 away, or £20 away, or whatever. That'll be the difference between what I would have bought and what I am buying. And then we build a slush fund up. We build a pleasure fund, something that we could have at some point. Now, it might be, a holiday if we get enough money. It might be a trip to the theatre. It might be go out on a day trip. It might be something of that, an activity-based process that we're going to reward ourselves with. And that then helps us to gain that process of there's something to look forward to. Because if we're trying to achieve a goal and we don't achieve it, it detracts from the process. If we're trying to build a goal and we get to it and then we give ourselves a reward, it doubles that motivational process. So try and give yourself some reward for the achievements you've made. And this will work for other people as well if you've got children that are trying to do something, change something. To give them that reward. Now, it might not be money reward. The kids don't necessarily need money as a reward. It could be you say, okay, then I'm going to spend some time with you at the end of the month. I'm going to take you out. We're going to do something together. Kids always want time with people. They don't really want the next thing that's available as a toy or an electronic gadget or a game. They want to spend time with people. They want to spend time with people they love and care about. And then people show them that as well. So having that reward, something you gain at the end of that process every month or every week, whatever your goal process is, and achieving it will give you that motivation to go forward and try again and try again and try again and try again. When people come to that end of the month and they see that they haven't achieved, as I said, it deflates, it demotivates. Don't necessarily, if that does happen, that you haven't achieved your goals, don't give up. That's the easy thing to do. Give up and go back. Yeah. Have a look at what you've said you can achieve. See whether that was realistic. Chances are it wasn't. Then the next month, February, start reducing your goal targets. Build them smaller steps, because steps can be always halved and halved and halved to build up smaller and smaller steps. So don't automatically ditch it, burn it. Try and look at it and reevaluate it, because then you're getting a more realistic idea of what you really can achieve. Because what we can achieve in the future is a perception. It's not reality. When we get to that future point and we look back, we have the reality. So that's the point to start reevaluating. So don't ditch it. Don't not go to the gym, for example. Start reevaluating how much is realistic and then put that into the program. Try and give it 3 months. 1 month is not enough to make a change, usually. 3 months is minimum. 6 months is better. But if you can give it 3 months and see where you are, chances are if you've got that 3-month process, you will have made some kind of inroads into that goal, into that aspect of what you want to achieve. And then you can start producing a better result for the next 3 months, and the next 3 months, and the next 3 months. So by the end of the year, it's been a year of going forward. It's been a way of achieving what you want to achieve. And if you've given yourself that reward, whatever that might be, then you can have that time out knowing that you've achieved and you've given yourself a reward. In the process of New Year's resolutions, then it's difficult. 2 things. One I've already said about the expectations. Second thing is, if you're making a change in your world and your life for the better, usually, other people around you might not want you to change. They may like you the way you are. It may breed some kind of jealousy in relationships. It might breed some kind of fears, insecurities. Well, if you lose weight, for example, then you might be more attractive to other people, subconsciously. You might think that. So it might create some disturbance around you by you engaging with this process of change. Human beings, most of us, we're not comfortable with change easily. We like change, and some people go forward with change, but a lot of people see change as an insecurity, as a threat. So if you're working that change and you're achieving your goals, then you need to have conversations around you with the people that you connect to know that this change isn't going to change the relationship, isn't going to change how you feel about them, isn't going to change what you want from them or what you will give them. In fact, it's going to make you feel better about yourself, so then the relationship partner should get a better sense of you, or a better aspect of you, or a better process of you, better person in some way, shape or form, because you probably won't feel as down. You'll feel more elated, you'll feel happier. So their interaction is going to create a positive effect on your change. So you need to really have a conversation with these people around you about the change, the reason for the change, what that change is going to do, how they are going to benefit from that change. So it's a win-win. It's not a win-lose. And that process will help them maybe to support you in your change. Because the worst thing of any change in one person that's in a relationship is the other person not involved in it, or not giving you happiness around it, a feeling of encouragement around it, a feeling of enlightenment around it. Because they may drag you back. They may stop you going to the gym, for example, because they say, well, we need to do this tonight. I know you're going to go to the gym, but I'd rather do this instead. And they may kind of derail your process of change because of their insecurity. Now, if they did that, then you might get frustrated and say, well, no, actually, I wanted to go to the gym, but yeah, I suppose I need to spend more time with these people, and there'll be this kind of awkward process between the two of you. There'll be some resentment from you because you wanted to go to the gym, and there'll be some frustration around that, quite naturally. So if we bring those people on board, if we can see that it's a win-win, not a win-lose, I'm not doing this just for me, I'm doing this for us, then you get a better process and a more encouraging process and a more positive process, obviously. And as you move through that process of gaining whatever it is you want to achieve, you naturally will become happier. You might become healthier. You certainly probably will become more enjoyable to be around. And that process then, if you're giving yourself the rewards, will help to everybody to have maybe a reward, not just you. So you might take people on a away day, a trip or holiday or whatever it is that you've amassed in income from that, in those savings. But putting it into a slush fund, putting it into a separate fund will help not see it as part of the normal aspect of finances. Because if you put it into the normal finances, then pretty much it'll go, because it does, doesn't it? You know, people spend more, unfortunately. And that process, if it's in a separate fund, will be able to be looked at and checked on and see it growing, you know. So that'll give you encouragement. If somebody around you is trying to change, then please try to engage with that in a more constructive way, not a destructive way. Try and engage with conversations about supporting them, about getting them to feel good about themselves in this change. Try not to deal them pressure. Haven't you done it yet? Haven't you got there yet? All those kind of things, because that will only take away that motivation. So try and give them that support, that encouragement by having those conversations, being there, being a bit more maybe accommodating than you would normally be. But kind of get involved in their process of change because that's going to make it easier for them, helpful, because obviously supporting them. But it'll also give you more connection to them, you more understanding of where they are, what they're doing, their process of being a human being, how they feel, how they think about the world, their drives and their determination, their stuff. And if you can do that with them, then you will get a benefit, not just them, because that will bring you closer together in your relationship. And the closer we are, usually, the more happier we are, the more content we are, the more we enjoy the process. Most human beings are social animals. We want to connect, we want to be around people. Not all, which is fine, but most people want to. So the aspect of this New Year's resolutions is make it achievable. If it's not achievable, you won't do it. Yeah? So you can't have unrealistic expectations. If you don't know if it is achievable, pull it down into smaller steps, smaller goals, smaller pieces of the jigsaw, if you like. Because as I said, you could do 2 steps in one and feel better about yourself. Keep at it. Connect with the people around you and see that it's going to be a win-win benefit for everybody. And monitor it. Give it some kind of record process so you can see it achievable. Whether it's money in a bank that would have been spent on other things, or whether it's on paper as I've lost £2, or I've lost £1, or I've lost £3. Something to monitor that progression, because that will help you to move forward in it. Hopefully that's made sense. I'm going to get off and do my New Year's resolution, which I probably won't complete. We talk about things, but maybe we need to take our own advice sometimes. No, but I'm going to do that. My next New Year's resolution, and I'll let you into a secret, which not a lot of people know, is I'm going to write another book next year. I'm going to write the third in the series, which will be hopefully interesting. It might be something that's humorous and not theory orientated or counselling orientated. It might be something about my world, my life, and my process. And the kind of things I've fallen down with, the scrapes I got myself into when I was a kid, which are quite humorous. I was on first name terms with the Accident and Emergency Centre in the town I used to live in when I was a kid. So there are lots of things that will be in the book which I hope people will find humorous, enlightening, interesting, and a bit of a good read. So that's coming up next year. That's my New Year's resolution. A chapter every month. There you are. You heard it on here. Hopefully I'll stick to it. And if not, you can tell me at the end of 2025 if I've achieved it or not. My name's Ian Wallace. I'm the Messed Up Counsellor. If you've liked this, please subscribe. We're up to 1,500 downloads now. Wow. And like, share, because you never know whether somebody could benefit from this I'm talking about. Take care. Enjoy your new year. And I'll see you again in 2025.